Hey, it's Derek G. I look very pale. Guess it's because I am very pale. I have no idea. This light does not like me. The O-ring light, the ring light, makes me look very pale. Anyway, this is the review I'm going to be doing for Death Stranding. It's all personal opinion. You can go and check out people's streams or whatever. I advise doing that for maybe half hour to an hour, and then go and borrow it from your local library, borrow it from Redbox, borrow it from GameFly, whatever. Try it for yourself before you spend any money. Not because I don't think it's worth it, because I do, but because everybody is different with the type of games that they enjoy. After this video, I'm going to be doing another video on Stranded Deep, which is only PC right now. So look for that. Okay, so Death Stranding. Death Stranding is a boring, tedious, repetitive, beautiful game. I let in with the horrible stuff first because it is a wonderful game, and if you work at it, and you really work at it, and you get through to the end of the story, and you just it's beautiful. The whole story is great. It's about connection and humanity and learning from the past and all that stuff, plus a little bit of insanity and people who can manipulate others using their insanity and whatnot. So, like I said, if you really are interested in it, go and do what I said earlier with the borrowing before you buy it. Now, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free, but I will warn when I do start going into spoilers so that you guys can stop the video and go if you don't want to be spoiled. So, the basic gameplay mechanics is that you are a porter, a very special porter named Sam. Sam Porter Bridges. There's more to that. There's more to that name, which is so weird. But anyway, so we come in, we see him. He's just a basic porter. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't like being touched. This is not spoilers. You learn all this in the first 10 minutes of the game. So you go from place to place delivering packages of various kinds. There's various categories. There's ones that are timed. There's ones that are fragile. There's ones that are have to be kept cold. There's ones that have to be handled with just your just holding on to them. That's the ultra fragile. There's ones where there's a lot of cargo. There's ones that all sorts of different types. So the most common type are of the lots of things and fragile, and of course the lost cargo, both lost cargo that people shared that you can deliver, or lost cargo that you find out in the world. And you can pick these up or you can claim them depending on where you are and deliver them. That's the entire premise of the game, is that you take packages from one place to the other, and in doing so you form connections to the communities that you are delivering to, and to the people that you work for eventually, called bridges. Well, you work for them right from the beginning of the game practically, but you form bonds, ties, connections, and these are really important to the overall story and how things happen and everything. It's important to work on getting all of them to 5-star before you leave an area. At least personally, that's what I did, because they give you advantages. Certain people give you musical instruments. Other people give you upgraded things like boots and ladders and climbing ropes and stuff like that have been upgraded, and that you can only get by visiting them. You can't make them yourself. In other ways, they give you little trinkets to put on your backpack, or when you first level up the connection for the very first place you go to, not the very first, the second, technically the second place in the game you go to, when from the very beginning. Once you've built up your connection to a certain level, they give you a cap. So, and sunglasses and all sorts of things. So you have to work at going to these places and connecting with these people to have these happen. And it also helps you unlock these things called interviews. They're little segments of story. Like, they tell you more information about things like BTs or BB, or the preppers that you're working with, or bridges in general. And it is a lot of fun. It's not so much fun to watch. Seriously, it is boring to watch, but to actually play is great, at least in my opinion. I have nothing really to compare it to, because while the certain parts of the game are not unique in any way. And why is it doing this? I'm in the middle of filming. Fucking Xbox. Anyway. Why? Anyway. The Microsoft Xbox thing popped up on my... Anyway. I'm not going to start over again. So... where was I? There's certain aspects of the gameplay that are similar or familiar, like vehicles and the balance mechanics are not very unique. I've had balance mechanics kind of like that before in other games. Hell, if you've had any experience with hiking up and down steep slopes or hills or anything like that at all, you would know how to handle the mechanics altogether. And it's doing it again. Why is it doing that? Anyway. So, now we're going to get into the spoiler part of the video. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you don't want to hear any story details at all, or anything like that, or hints and tricks, because this, a couple of them are spoiler, then don't continue. So Sam Porter Bridges is the adopted son of President Strand, who dies at the beginning of the game. Like, seriously. Within the first hour, depending on how you play and everything like that, you get there, she dies, you take her to the incinerator. Seriously. So, she is the extinction entity. She is the end of times for humanity. Now, throughout the storyline, Hartman and his crew, Deadman, and everybody pieced together various pieces of Earth history within the universe of the game. This is all within the universe of the game. Within Earth's history, to find out that this is the 6th extinction. Basically, the Earth has gone through extinction cycles 5 times before. Dinosaurs, cephalopods, little things. You can look them up on the internet. All those stuff. Through the evolution of the planet, there have been multiple Death Strandings, including during the Cro-Magnon man or Neanderthal period. But that Homo sapiens evolved and survived because they were considered a slightly separate race of humanity. Even though we do, in the game and in real life, carry parts of their DNA because we were compatible. So, you learn all sorts of really nifty things about the Death Stranding and Ka and Ha, the spirit and the body, And the themes and the story are very, 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 very influenced by Japanese culture and lore and philosophy, which makes sense considering Hideo Kojima is from Japan. So, like, some of the worst BT bosses or enemies look like the typical daemons. So, like, they got the masks and the weird flowing tar like bodies and stuff like that. Some of them look like lions, like the Chinese lions or Japanese ones, I should say. Um, and some of them look like humpback whales, truthfully. Some of them look like squids, like calamari. It's really kind of cool. So there is a huge Japanese philosophy influence, and you can totally tell that they knew they knew that most of the American gamer and most of the European as well market would not understand a lot of the nuances to the game. You have to really, really, really pay attention and also know at least a little bit about Japanese culture in order to really understand where they're going with it for the story and theme of the game. Because it's all about humanity, it's all about connection and learning from the past and how to get back to where we need to be, where we can evolve and change, but also rely on each other. Because this is important. As much as Sam works at connecting to others and connecting to the world as a whole in the game to bring them all together and whatnot, and then eventually to stop the extinction entity by hugging her. Seriously, seriously, seriously. He hugs her, and she's like, "Humanity still has hope," because he shows compassion in the face of imminent threat. She stops doing what she's doing, which, as we all know, in real life, most human bullies don't always stop when you hug them. Sometimes they have severe psychological problems that make it impossible, like sociopaths or narcissists. Anyway, so so the message is that as much as we like to be alone and to have our space and our things, and I'm not talking about physical items, I'm talking about the things that we like to do or think. As much as we want to have our own presence, personality, whatever, we still need to have even the most bare connections to the rest of the world in order to be able to function properly. Of course, this is for normal people, and I'm going to clarify this. Most normal people, those that have completely normal brains, no weird brain chemistry imbalances, no weird psychological anything, okay, are social animals. And you'll hear this a lot in like sociology and anthropology, archaeology, philosophy, anything that studies the humans, culture, whatever. You'll hear about how people are social animals, and we are, typically. So people find connecting to others to be satisfying, gratifying, fulfilling, all those different words. But there are exceptions to those rules, and unfortunately, because of the way that our culture has started to evolve, for the most part, and when I say it's like maybe 25% or less of the population total in the United States, let alone the world, we're evolving to not necessarily need all of that social connection. Most people with high functioning autism are riddled with social anxiety issues and stuff like that because of the way their brain works, and so having as much connection and as many friends and acquaintances and stuff as normal people have is very stressful and something that we don't do. Like me. I'm high functioning autism. I'd rather sit here and read and occasionally talk to my mom or to my friends online than go out and try to meet new people. I'm very awkward with people. So it makes it really hard to meet anybody. Anyway, friendship or not. So the game itself, you work through. Sam gets kind of like shoehorned into doing this connection thing from Capital Knot City to Edge Knot City, which is East Coast to West Coast, which is actually not that far. I mean, yeah, it's supposed to represent the entirety of America, but it's not that huge of a map, relatively speaking. So, you connect each of the different people. So in the first area, you've got Capital Knot City, the way station for Capital Knot, the distribution center for Capital Knot, the wind farm, Port Knot City, the Ludens fan, and the musician. They're all in. I don't think I'm missing anything. They're all in the first area, and so you have to work to connect them all to the network and to each other, technically speaking. And they all give you things, like the musician gives you a harmonica, which you can use to, help connect more with BB. BB is the most important connection, by the way, in my opinion. And you'll find out why as I go through the story. So in the next region, there's 3 regions technically, because you got the first region, which is the starter region. You got the middle region, which is the biggest bit of map in the game, and it's supposed to represent the majority of the Midwest and Mid-East and Middle Central part of America. And then you got Edge Knot City, which is its own map. So yeah, those are the only 3 actual maps you have in the game. There's no interior maps, technically, because the only time you're inside, fully enclosed somewhere, is either during a cinematic or when you go into your private room. Private rooms are really kind of cool. Useful, but I find it kind of annoying that some of the preppers are only triggered when you stay in one of them, or some of the other elements of the game. I don't know how many times it's done that now. I apologize if it keeps going blurry. I move around when I talk. So I don't, some of the stuff in the game is locked behind what I call sleeping walls, because whenever you go into your private room, it automatically makes you sleep. Seriously, you have no control over that. You go down, he lays down on the bed, it fades to black, you wake up, he sits up, uncuffs himself from the bed, which I still don't understand that one. Seriously, I played this game all the way through and meticulously made sure everybody was connected 5 stars before I tried to do anything else, each region, except for one, the pizza guy, and that's only because you cannot, even if you make every single delivery he sends you as an email before you leave to the next area, you cannot finish him and get 5 stars until the end of the game, after you've beaten Higgs and gone to the inauguration, which is part of the end game. So I went and did all of this, and I still don't understand the cuffs and why they look like handcuffs. I have no idea. Is it a representation of being shackled to society? I have no idea. But I do know that at the end of the game, after all of this stuff, after he hugs the extinction entity and stops the end of delays the extinction of humanity, that he unshackles himself from the network. So he basically pulls himself out of the forced social connection, and only him and his kid are together at the end. He takes his kid and he walks away. And so it's very interesting. The only characters that you might get semi-attached to that die are the bad guy, Higgs, and the Elder Prepper. The Elder Prepper is, as you can tell, elderly. Most of his shipments are like pacemakers and heart medicine and stuff like that. If you stop delivering to him, which I did after I got him to 5 stars, if you stop delivering to him after a while, if you show back up to his place, a BT or ghost, or people say Reaper or whatever, is sitting in his shelter and greets you at the door. And then you get sent a letter that he wrote knowing that he was dying. And it was kind of sad. But for me, it's just because it connects to, things that have happened in my life. That's why it's sad for me. So, Higgs is bug nuts. Okay. He came from an abusive household where his dad is one of those generic, stereotypical redneck, backwoods type folk, not typical redneck, where he's like, don't trust the government, don't trust anybody but your family, blah, 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 and still hits his kid, So, so his mom passes away, and then I think his dad either dies or he runs away. I'm not quite sure. I have to reread his little journal entry thing. You don't get all the journal entries until the end of the game either, by the way. And you don't even know it's his journal. It just says like hidden man or unknown man or whatever. So you read his journals and you can see him going from being a typical kid who got thrown into being a porter just to make money to be able to eat, okay, and survive, to becoming a mule, being addicted to the power that doing the deliveries and the recognition gave him, to suddenly learning that he's got dooms, which is like a special mutant ability type thing. And so he hooks up with Fragile Shipping, and Fragile, the girl. Her father named her after the company. Her tagline is, I'm fragile, but I'm not fragile. Anyway, so he hooks up with Fragile to learn more about dooms and how she does her thing, because her big power is being able to, it looks like teleporting, but it's not. She goes to the beach, she runs along the beach, she comes back down. It's how it works. And she takes other people with her. It just seems instantaneous, and they don't really talk about it much until the end of the game when you find out what it actually entails. So, he learns all he can from her, and he continues to build his name and her name and all that stuff. And then he meets the Extinction Entity. And at this point in the timeline of the game that you don't know about until the end, he's craving more power, more recognition. He's basically a mule on steroids. And so the Extinction Entity teaches him how to do things, gives him a connection to her beach, shit like that, and he goes crazier. And he starts comparing himself to the pharaohs of Egypt and all this other stuff, which is why, if you pay attention to what he's wearing, he's got a golden mask, like the golden death masks that pharaohs were buried with. And he's got the pharaoh stripes on the outfits that his guys wear, the whole 9 yards. He goes full blown from slightly crazy muley type guy to having a god complex. Seriously. His tagline is, I'm Higgs, I'm the god molecule. Anyway. And from the very beginning that Sam shows up and is being put towards his task of connecting America from coast to coast, Higgs hates him. And it gets worse and worse and worse. You know that meme of that guy, I think it's from The Office, but I'm not quite sure. He's smoking cigarettes and he looks like he hasn't slept in weeks, and he's pointing at the board with all the connections and all this. That's Higgs, but way worse. You get to see this stuff and learn this stuff, like I said, at the end of the game. But he is actually kind of funny. Higgs is because he's all showy. He's like the Joker type showy. He's like, I'm da 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 da, and you're gonna ba, and that's how he is, because he thinks he is the end all be all, and that he's gonna kill Sam to stop him from connecting America, and he doesn't quite understand that, he does, but he doesn't. At the beginning, he didn't understand that by letting Sam connect the different cities would allow the extinction to happen faster. But then the Extinction Entity got cold feet, and so he tried to off Sam and a bunch of other things. Now, I will say, even for I'm not a casual gamer, but I'm not like a pro or a hardcore gamer either. But I would advise anybody that is not a huge like hardcore, plays everything on the hardest thing, did my thing about death, Dark Souls and all that stuff. If you're not like that, play it on easy. Seriously, play it on easy, because the end, especially the end battles, will drive you nuts. They will genuinely drive you crazy if you don't, because they are so over the top. All right, that it's unbelievable, because the Extinction Entity and Higgs are both dead, yet you have to fight one of the normal catchers, well, the bigger of the normal catchers, like they basically, it's the boss battles all over again. Like, seriously, you have to fight the catcher, the bigger version of the catcher that you first fight in a boss battle against Higgs in the beginning of the game. You have to fight 4 of the lion ones, and then when you finally get to Capital Knot again, because you have to travel back across the map, you have to fight one of them freaking whales. It's stupid. That it was just way over the top. Considering that you've killed Higgs, you've locked up the Extinction Entity into her beach. There's nobody that should be fighting against you for this. There should be no reason that you have to climb uphill, metaphorically speaking, to get to where you're going. Other than the fact that the Hideo Kojima and his crew decided that they needed to make it hard, because they vaguely mentioned that the BTs are not actually technically controlled by the Extinction Entity or Higgs, that they're their own thing, and that they're invading by using the Extinction Entity's beast. So you're supposed to assume, I'm guessing, that these guys were going to stop you for some reason. You've already done what... I don't get it. I never did get that part. Anyway, that's my review. It's worth the $60 if you've got it. If you don't have the money right now, like I said, go to Redbox, go to your local library, go to Gameplay, whatever, and borrow it there. Borrow it from a friend if you've got a friend who's got it, to try it out. Because watching, again, I will repeat myself, watching does not give you the real feeling of the game. And I'm not the only person that has said that in a review. I know, because I watched some other guy's review that I don't remember the name of on Reddit, on the subreddit for Death Stranding. Anyway, talk at you later.